Blakey and Tux, they're talking Cardiff City and some other stuff. Blakey and Tux, Dolly asks the questions on Blakey's Bootroom. Will always be blue.
Good afternoon. Welcome once again to Blakey's Bootroom here on Wales Online. Nathan and Steve here, ready for action in the studio. The Bluebirds in the playoff positions. Momentum's building. The Premier League is a whisker away.
I can't believe these people been having a go at Big Russ. I can't. Who are these people? Who are these people who've been having a go at Big? No.
Quite entertaining as well.
It was an entertaining, very. And we were just saying now before we came on here, we were saying what good goals. We're so used to like Whittingham corner, Morrison header, or something like that. We were spoilt for really nice, good Tony Watt. Good to see him get his first goal, and a really positive, everything we've been saying about him kind of encapsulated. Good run into the box, turned his man, and a nice little finishing off the post. So I thought the keeper would be like, why wasn't I covering that? Lovely Scott Malone, a little bit of good fortune with like a kind of double ricochet on the finish, but really well set up. Lovely layoff by Kenwyn, and then Kenwyn again, nice flick over the top for Pilkington to hit home. Probably not that pleased with the second Bolton goal, but it was for a start. It was a much needed away win. I mean, they hadn't won since like Forest in August, so getting those 3 points on the road.
And
was
the
good.
fans who I can hear them now saying, "Yeah, but it was Bolton. They were bottom of the league. You still got to go and win it. Still got to pick up points."
And Cardiff were only the second side to win there. I know they're down and out and abject and all that, and £1 billion in debt, and everybody's not being paid and all that. But
was it what you were hoping for after the Burnley performance? Obviously, they didn't win that one with everything that happened in the final minute.
It's Bolton. I didn't want them to just go and slap Bolton.
We talked last week, didn't we, about
I saw your statue out. That statue of yours outside there, actually, it's really good.
Such an improved performance against
100 foot
Burnley.
tall.
Was it just a one-off? Were there signs again of progress for you in terms of the football being played?
It's difficult to say because
patches.
Yeah, it wasn't. They're away from home. I wouldn't say it was as good a performance as the home game which they drew. I think they had less of the ball. I think if you're looking at patterns of play, I know the manager said 14 passes for the first goal, but
15.
They were largely inside their own half. It wasn't like a build-up towards. Do you know what I mean? So, listen, it's going in the right direction. It's an away game, and you can accept that. Okay, sometimes or often you'll have to go away, and you'll have to play to your strengths. And try and, rather than at home, you've not just got to play to your strength, but you've got to put performance on. People have paid to come through the gate. It's your duty to go out and put a performance together. So it's slightly different away from home. But, they played okay in patches and got the 3 points, which is, most important at the end of the day. People will still say, I'm just speaking on behalf of what I hear out in the general public, who you still conceded 2 goals against, lowly Bolton and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, fair enough. Take it on the chin. But 3 points in the bag against what would have been if they lost that, then listen, the clamour for the manager to leave would have just gone through the roof. Yeah. Trust me. So, on the level of importance for him. Yeah, very good result.
I think a year ago they would have lost it. I think, whatever you say about Slade, I think the one thing he's brought, and I said this in the summer when I was in the Netherlands or Holland or whatever you want to call the place. I sensed then a bit more of a coming together, a bit more unity within the side, and I think he's got that. I think he's got them playing for him. I think what he's got after the Solskjaer reign.
Let me play devil's advocate.
I think he's simplified things, and I think people understand.
Devil's advocate.
Oh,
then.
that's unlike you.
Right.
What? Devil's.
So,
come on then.
From a fan's perspective, things have improved or things have steadied, and you say like you experience like the fans really, the players really coming together. Why do you think then? Because in my experience, when you got a group of players who are really, really tight and they love the manager, you go through like brick walls, over hot coals, over mountains. You go to the 9th degree for him.
Yeah.
Why do you think in the performances since the start of this season then, they've been anything but, where you say that team is running through brick walls, over hot coals for that manager?
I don't know. I think there have been signs that they have. I think it's been a slow, gradual improvement. The Solskjaer reign, crikey, 39 blokes. So I think he started.
Yeah, we all accept that. We all accept that.
I think it's been a long,
stop being a politician. Answer the question.
Is this question time? I can't be. I'm not getting a fee for this. I can't be. I don't know what's going on. No, I think it's been a slow, steady progression. Okay, maybe running through brick walls and unity and all is not the right way of describing it in a weird way. I think more Slade has simplified things. People are clearer in their roles, what's expected of them, what they need to, what's the route to the side, what do they need to do in the side.
So would you then say that then is also posing a problem because we're very limited in our approach to games?
I know that you're a big advocate of this. I mean? Yes, no, I do know what you mean. And I mean
because these are players who've played. Look at Pilkington. He's played at the highest level. Fabio, highest level. Manga, highest level. These are players who have they're not just half decent championship players. They're quality players. You look at Manga, you look at Kedwin, you look at these are players with a lot of experience, international. Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying
they're the finished thing. They're like, I'm not saying after what the Burnley performance, this result, I'm not saying wow, this is it now. I think Slade himself, I was there, said after we're not playing to our capabilities often enough, regularly enough. There's massive room for improvement still. Okay. But I do think there is definite signs of progress, and I also think there's a lot of people walking around saying, we got Manga and Witter, as if there's some God-given right to say, well, why aren't we in the top 2? Why aren't we top? Why aren't we running away with it? I don't think it works like that. I don't think there's anybody out there now. Oh, all right, you could complain about the quality of the football.
I don't think anyone's saying we should be running away with it.
Well, no, there are. Mate, I know. I've had people come to me saying, over the weekend, they said, well, 6 is a good return. Well, we should be in the top 2 with the players we got. What's going on down there? We should be hanging on for a playoff place. Mate, they are out there. There's a lot of people out there saying that. And I'm just saying right now, I think it would be very churlish of anyone to turn around to Slade now and say, you're not doing your job. You're not doing it right. He could do it better, of course. I think he's more than answered his critics at this point. I'm no Slade apologist. I'm not saying the guy's the greatest thing ever. I know he's got limitations. I know he's got blind spots and all the rest of it, like a lot of managers have.
3 losses. Let's see what Tuck's is saying.
Yeah, Russ, I'll pick up that money later. Yeah, okay, 50 quid. No, I mean, I think it would be a very harsh Cardiff City fan now, personally. I'm sure we'll hear from some opinions from them, but I think it would be very harsh now to say Slade's getting it wrong, Slade's rubbish, Slade should be out. I think he's more than 12 million off the wage bill. All right, he's made some rubbish signings. Sure. Sure. No, hang on. Sure, but where's he been? Where's he been getting a lot of? Let's be honest. He's got zero budget. He's not spending any money. Compared to what he had before, you can't even say he's been lessened. He's got none. He's got this side. This side is coming together. And 6th right now, crikey, I think anybody who's sitting at home saying, oh, nah, get him out, I think they're being very, very harsh. I must say. And you know, I couldn't agree with that at the moment. Okay, that's it. Now I'm off to my Russell Slade Appreciation Society meeting. But that's just, I mean, I would find it bizarre anyone saying Slade out and all this. Now, what are we expecting?
Let's have a few.
Let's have a listen
to the people,
and girls,
the important people.
Comments. Obviously, the big selection decision was
Whittingham,
being dropped and Rouse.
We're going to be saying it for 18 months.
Well, indeed, let's listen to a couple of comments. Anthony saying, great to see Slade drop Whittingham and put his faith in Rouse and Gunnarsson. They bossed the midfield on Saturday. If Slade keeps faith with the team, with this team, then automatic promotion is a possibility. Whittingham should have been sold to Hull in the summer. It's sad to say, but he's past it. He says, another one here, Steve saying, how long have fans been calling for two wingers and Rouse in the centre? Why couldn't Slade have seen this earlier?
And you'd see that's where
in round holes.
I think the problem is it's Whittingham. If it was anybody else, you'd be saying, right, okay, but it's Whittingham. You know, I mean, you said yourself, and I was chatting to you yesterday. You said yourself, remains one of the classiest players in the division. I think it's interesting what you say in your column today, in the way that you think it. Do you know what I mean? There is still a way.
You can utilise that talent.
To utilise Whittingham anyway, within maybe a different system. Like I thought it was interesting, we were talking about, and you said about Gerrard and all that at Liverpool, when he was coming to the end, you know, that kind of protected role, that more for a playmaker. But because it's been Whittingham, that has been the difficult thing. But Whittingham, he's not indispensable. And I think, recently, for the first time, they're winning the battle in midfield. I mean, they didn't do that all the time at Bolton for a start, but away from home, whatever, you're going to be more on the back foot. Yeah,
Rouse and Gunnarsson.
But you know, particularly against Burnley, I thought they bossed midfield for most of it. So the change. You know, I mean, I don't know how much criticism people are going to get. You know, I don't know how much criticism we want to have. I don't want to be too positive either.
Paul says, hopefully Slade has learned his lesson. The lopsided midfield does not work. He says it never has. Raul should be in the centre, and if we're winging, we should bring on a midfielder or a defender at the end, not change a striker for a striker.
I thought he did that. The Keshwi,
not rocket science. He said, Adrian says, you're both kind of saying the same things as the fans. Slade is limited with his football approach. He is not doing his job because the fans are staying away. So there's still that out there.
I don't think that's just down to Slade, but there you go.
One year from Adrian, Russell Slade will never be accepted by the majority of stay-away fans. You've been in football long enough, Blakey, to know that some players or managers are just never accepted at clubs. I still don't think he's getting the best out of the squad we have.
Takes them up as champions, and he would not be accepted then. I doubt it.
I'll have a bet with you, maybe by 10,000, but you know, you've got a 25,000 possibly at his best.
So come on,
mate. I don't know. Listen, I can't listen. I can't answer. I can't answer you. I can't say to you specifically why. I think there's a number of reasons which I've outlined before and said before. But as Adrian says there, you just have to accept, and that's what I said. And I've said, have I not? Russell Slade, rather than focusing what fans, media, websites, and what have you are saying, mate, you're not going to win that battle. You just, you know.
Come next May, second leg of the playoff. Derby at the Cardiff City Stadium. They've gone to Derby. Maybe they finished above them. That's fanciful, but they've gone to Derby. They've drawn 0-0.
He's building it.
They've drawn 0-0. I'm there with a supermodel on my arm and £1 million. No, forget all that. We'll watch that.
King Kong comes over the mountain.
No. Cardiff City Stadium, 0-0 in the first leg at Derby.
Really detailed.
This is a hell of a fan. Does it sell out?
What's that?
Is the Cardiff City Stadium sold out?
What, if they're in the semi-finals of the playoffs? The
semi-final of the playoffs, second leg, 0-0 at Derby, second leg for a place at Wembley. Is it sold out? I say yes, it's sold out.
Do you know what?
So
do you know what?
I'd say that's success.
I would say, honestly, hand on heart, I think you'd probably get 20, 22, but I don't think it would sell out, because I honestly don't think that the stay-away fans are staying away simply for one or t'other, one reason. Or reason is like my car parking was charged for it, or Russell Slade's rubbish, or the football we're playing is not good enough, or it's over the history of the last
I think it's an
3 or
economic
4
thing as well,
years.
isn't it?
Yeah, and plus, people got, money's tight, man. Christmas. Christmas coming
Tell
and
me
stuff
about
like that. You know?
True.
Well, when I say sellout, I don't mean that other stand.
Oh, okay.
I don't mean like 35,000.
That's what I see as a sellout now.
Well, reopen
The lower
stand.
tiers.
John says Slade is a steady Eddie character that we so badly needed after the chaos of the Solskjaer era. I think he's learning all the time about the division and will get it right if he is given time. Let's all get behind him now.
I kind of agree with that.
And if you don't, my point today, what I was trying to say is, listen, regardless whether you agree with the manager, follow the manager, the managers, the owners, the chief execs, they all come and go, mate. Cardiff doesn't, the club doesn't. And I know it's difficult, and I know, listen, if money's tight and all that, it's understandable why people stay away, and it's acceptable. But if you can, and if you can bring it upon yourself to overlook certain issues, which I know are deep, man, cut deep, but if you can overlook and just follow the team for now, they need that bouncing stadium. They need that atmosphere, for me, I think. If they're going to push on into becoming an established top 6 team and going for getting up amongst Middlesbrough and all that, they need a full house bouncing every week. Without it, they'll sit around the playoffs, and I think, listen, I hope they stay in there, but I've predicted 8th, so that removes some pressure, doesn't it?
It does, mate. Yeah, it does. Absolutely, absolutely. What about, we mentioned about Tucker just said Russell Slade's signings have been pretty rubbish. What about Tony? What then? He's only been here a week or two. He's on his way to cult status already, I think, isn't he? He was impressive against Burnley for a first.
I wouldn't go that far. Cult status is like...
All right, he's not... All right,
he's no Nathan Blake, but in cult status terms. I mean, of course he's a cult. Look at that hair there. If you go near that hair...
Those are the days where he used to actually fancy me.
You weren't allowed.
He used to draw ringlets around there.
You weren't allowed to go within 10 feet of him with a naked flame for fear he would go out with that much gel on his hair there.
It wasn't gel, it's Dax, you fool.
Dax?
Yeah.
What's Dax?
Dax wax.
Oh, wax.
That's what the kids are wearing.
Yeah, come on, John. You're dealing with someone who's never put a product in his hair.
Look at this. Do you think I know anything about wax? Hair wax?
Shampoo now.
I like the natural look.
A natural grease.
Yeah.
Flowing.
Remember Sting of the Dump? You remember that?
I just look at positive. I got some hair. No offence, Blakey, but you know what I mean.
There's no doubt. Oh, come on, he's really
I
added
think he's
something.
I think he's definitely added something, and I think he works brilliantly with Kenman.
What? Yeah, he has added something, definitely. But again, I don't want to put, the reason I jumped on that statement, because it puts pressure on. If he goes 5 games now without scoring, we'll be sat here and we'll be going, it hasn't really worked out for what, has it? You know what I mean? Exciting start, but then, some cult status and, he's going to get us 20. Let's just leave him to get into this stride and
bringing us down.
You know what I mean?
I know he is.
We're going to have to get him replaced.
He's the kind of guy at a birthday party when you're going, yeah, but you might not see the next birthday. Why are you celebrating now? You know what I mean? Why bother celebrating?
Why celebrate 10th? You might not make it.
You might not make it to next. I mean, I'll get more excited than Blakey as usual. I think I thought he had a really good game against Burnley, and I thought he could well take goal. And I thought he did well at Bolton as well. And I like the way he works with Kenwyn Jones. I think he buzzes around, and Kenwyn's his usual kind of solid stuff. I think he looks good. It was interesting because Neil Lennon was moaning afterwards. He got a lot to moan about, but saying he was offered before Cardiff, it seems, and Bolton were, but of course couldn't afford even to pick up his wages for a month.
Couldn't afford his train fare.
Couldn't afford his platform ticket or whatever. So there was a terrible. I know, yeah.
It's not nice to see. It's not nice to see.
No.
They wanted you to go there and up on the weekend and take your boots with you, I think, as well, was the thing that was said. But excited by what? A lot.
Yeah, excited by what? Definitely.
That's good. Yeah. What about the other end here? Anthony just saying that he's becoming concerned that City have conceded 2 goals in each of their last 3 games. Is it time for Bruno Manga to return? And this, of course, comes amid. I know I think Slade rubbished them, but there were certain rumours about Club Toulouse, I think it was, in France, being interested in potentially a January bid for Manga. If he's not playing, then that is a...
Well, I was told that was nonsense, but...
Well, he would know, Russell Slade.
No, and possibly not even, but I mean, Russell himself was saying that. I think...
Answer the question.
As usual, I wasn't even listening to the question.
You're still talking.
I was too busy thinking about myself, as usual. I think, obviously, 2 goals in the last 3 games... You've got a unique situation in that you've got this star... centre-half, the best centre-half in the division, the 4 million, the last big money signing
in the history of Cardiff
ever for Cardiff City. So yeah, I mean, you do look at it now, and as those goals go in, and he's sitting there, I think I'm writing a piece there. Then the route to the first team starts to open back up for him, doesn't it?
Let's be fair. We've said for the last 2 months, 3 months, if not for Marshall, we wouldn't have been keeping clean sheets at times when we did.
Carl says that without Marshall we'd be nowhere near 6th.
There you go.
Well, they'd have lost on Saturday.
So we you know, there was good save. And this is where I say you can't mug the fans, all right? It's no good saying we kept another clean sheet, blah, 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 blah. When everyone in the stadium can see, we've just been battered, yeah? And without Marshall, we would have lost 3-1, or we would have lost 4-2, or we would have lost 2-0. You know, address the problems. Don't pretend like they're not there. You know, publicly, you don't have to say we were terribly defensively, blah, blah. But you say, you let the fans know, look, I know we're still conceding too many chances. We need to tighten up. We can't keep relying on Marshall to pull us out of the mire every time. So the problems are there. We all know them, and now Marshall isn't pulling off worldies. You're then seeing the ball going in the back of the net, and people are starting to go, well, there's a problem. It's been highlighted a while ago. You kind of ignored it. Can you deal with it, please? And you know, they need to deal with it. And for me, I would bring Manga in now. Yeah. Would.
Well, what are the issues then if they're conceding these goals?
Coming in from all sides. No, I'm just interested.
Are there individual mistakes that you can pick on? Because people tell me Matt Connolly's been fantastic this season. Everyone sees Peltier, Malone, good, solid. You know, is it Morrison? Is he making mistakes? I assume that's the guy you're going to say should be replaced by Bruno Manga.
Are you? I wouldn't put it down to individual mistakes. I think a lot of it has stemmed from what Blakey pointed out a couple of weeks ago. Often how deep Cardiff find themselves playing, you know, and the protection that has been offered by the midfield. I could hardly pick anyone out and then say, well, he's regularly making... Morrison will make mistakes. It often depends how costly they are. But I always think for most centre-halves at that level, they make mistakes anyway. Do you know what I mean? It just depends if they're punished or not. I couldn't single anyone out in there and say, you know, take him out, he's been terrible, he's regularly terrible. Peltier and Malone in particular, I mean, the other big question we could obviously talk about is Fabio. Is Fabio as well for Malone, but I mean, now he's fit again. But Peltier and Malone, they're like, you know, what's they, solid, you know, I mean, solid championship fullbacks. Like, right now, I disagree with Blakey in that I don't see the need to tear that up at the moment. Not now. I mean, if they play Sheffield Wednesday and they lose 3-2 or something in Cardiff, then you might be thinking, hang on, I don't think right now the balance has gone.
Isn't the key to good management make the changes before you start?
Correct. Oh, he's got you, man.
Is he?
I was about to say the exact same thing. He's got you. Well, one step ahead.
I don't think it is one step ahead. I don't think it's necessary at this point in time.
You put it together so the partnerships develop at your best players, if you can. What players fit into the best team? Yeah. I'm not saying I'm saying is what he said.
I'm not pressing the panic button.
It's spot on.
I'm not pressing the centre-half panic button.
Listen,
like you.
You don't listen sometimes, because you just don't want to listen.
You are. What did you say? What did you say?
What are you saying is right. What he's saying is right.
Yeah.
He's just saying, why wouldn't you be proactive rather than reactive?
I don't think there's any need to change that defence right now,
enough.
personally.
Fair
But I can see where the voices, as the goals rattle in, the voices get louder and louder.
We lost 10-2. Change it, Tux.
Don't press the panic button. There's only 10. But right now, I don't see a need to change the defence, personally.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens against Sheffield Wednesday, I suppose. Carl here just saying, Blakey, how do you end up being a pundit with the likes of Tucker and Leighton James? You must have upset somebody.
I thought you were going to say you must have done something right then.
I love them both. I love them both. Tuck's my boy, man. Tuck's my boy.
Yeah.
Late's a pussycat. He's great.
Indeed.
I've had a few run-ins with Leighton.
Have you?
But then again, I've had a few run-ins with everyone.
Later, he's a Rottweiler when he's ready. Trust me.
Yeah,
Well, story for another day, maybe.
Yeah.
We've been asking people the question about January, looking forward next month. January window opens pretty soon. Do Cardiff City actually need to strengthen? Because I came in this morning and Tucker was barely sat down and he was thrusting the team sheet from Saturday to me going, look at this bench. It's the greatest bench Cardiff City have ever had.
Is this the strongest bench Cardiff have ever had? Apart from when you were on the bench, obviously. Which wasn't very often. No, I mean,
Fabio, Amiobi, Manga, Whittingham,
Dacashri. I mean, outside of Simon Moore, obviously, cover keeper, you take him out of the equation. You had 6 guys there, for me, would play in 90%. A team would be on the starting sheet of 90% of the championship.
I'm not sure about that.
What, don't you think so? Amiobi, Dacashri, Mason, Manga, and Whittingham. And, go on. Manga, Whittingham.
Fabio.
Why would Whittingham be in someone else's?
when you just said he's not good enough.
What are you talking about?
Well, I didn't say he wasn't good enough. I'm just saying there are what you're saying there are teams out there that wouldn't want Whittingham in their midfield.
Maybe in the lower half of the championship.
I think Tuck's got a point. It's certainly the strongest.
It's a strong bench, but I'm not saying like you've gone Whittingham.
There have been times in the not too distant past where you've looked at the Cardiff bench and thought,
well, this season early on,
you can't see what's going to change things from there.
You got O'Keefe in there or whatever, and
you can't say Joe Mason would walk into anyone's team right now.
No, but
you can't say Whittingham would walk into anyone's team right now.
Amiobi.
You can't say Amiobi would walk into anyone's team right now.
Right, I'll get rid of that piece.
We'll scrap that piece.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but it is a
what I'm like?
It is a good... proper OTT. It is a good bench. It's a good bench.
You got Kennedy not on there. You got I don't know. I mean, I mean to come back to the original point. Do you think that Slade has a strong case to go into Tan or wherever he goes into to Mehmet Dalman and say, I want this in January?
Well, there's 2 ways of looking at it. You can say on top of the strongest bench ever, Vincent Tan might say, why? You've got a
that's what
really
I mean. That's the point
squad.
I'm trying to make, yeah.
Or, on the other hand, Slade might say, well, I need extra to continue my progress.
Okay, right. That's both sides of the argument. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Do you think Cardiff need more? Would you like to see them need more, or do you think they can go with?
I've said for 2 years, pace is what Cardiff lacks, out wide, and playmaking in the middle. And I've said in this week's column with Whittingham, with the other midfielders like Dacashri, like Gunnarsson, you can fiddle with Whittingham. You can put him in positions where you strictly rely on. Imagine Whittingham to Watt now. Watt, who likes to run in behind people, channels, blah 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 blah. You've got Whittingham sat in like a quarterback role or a number 10 role, who's feeding Watt. You can utilise that. So, but I would still go out and get someone, or I'd look into my 21s and youth to try and bring someone up. I don't wait until the position needs to be changed. I get someone in to challenge the person who's in there now, and that keeps the geezer who's in there on his top game, and the youngster coming behind gives him the opportunity to think, right, I've got a chance,
Sullivan,
I keep putting the pressure on. No, not for me.
No?
No.
I don't know, he's just doing well at Newport.
He's doing well.
Yeah, he is doing it well at Newport. Maybe at the number 10 role, but not as a central midfielder, not as a playmaking role, and he's not going to play as a number 6. You know what I mean? And he's not a leggy. He's not a. You couldn't use him in a number 8, a number 6, or a number 10 role. He has to play in a number 10 role, Tommy. For me.
Okay. But I'd just be interested. I mean, because the point being, I suppose you look at January, you think. You could almost say Slade's kept keeping his side of the bargain, that he's keeping them up there in the mix. You wonder, it comes back to that unknown quantity, and that is Vincent Tan's ambitions for the club right now.
It's not even. We've said so many times, there doesn't seem to be a plan. We go from stage to stage. You know, 2 months things are terrible, a month things are great, 2 months things are average, 2 months things are rubbish. And you finish on a high, sort of thing. There's no structural, there's no strategic plan, long term, medium term, short term.
I mean,
it's very.
I think Ken Chu came out and said insisting there is that plan in 3-5 years or something or other.
And what was it in general?
I don't know what it is. It's
well, the obvious goal is to get to the Premier League, but that's okay saying it. It's how you're going to do it that needs to be detailed.
You mentioned Ken Chu there, so we should maybe touch briefly upon the whole agents' fees thing that came up earlier last week after just explain to people that probably read the stuff, because I know you spoke to several people around that story. The story being Cardiff's agent fees for last season basically were
nearly 3 million.
3 million quid, higher than any other teams in the Championship. But there was a startling fact when you looked at the people who they bought, for very minimal fees, but there was an explanation.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation in that there's different. Without giving too much away, there's different noises coming from different sides in all that debate about. The club are insisting that a lot of that debt don't make me nervous. I don't work well under nervous. No, insisting that a lot of that. What we're seeing now is actually money paid to agents for deals not actually done during Slade's reign. In fact, their previous deals that had to be dealt with that perhaps had been delayed for various reasons, but now needed to be honoured and had been paid. So,
incredible amount of money though.
Yeah, and that's there's
for
a lot
Championship club.
Yeah, and that's there's there were maybe perhaps excessive agent involvement in some deals in the past. I understand from other sources. I quite like saying that. It makes me sound like other sources that would disagree and say that the previous deals were not so agent heavy and all that. So you pays your money, you takes your choices in there. There's definitely disagreement and unhappiness and I think what's no secret is Vincent Tan's concerns during Malky Mackay's reign and some of the deals that were brokered then about fees and things like that, of which I think everybody would know had been investigated and heard nothing about them. So, you would assume that there's nothing found there. So. That's the situation moving forward.
There's two ways to look at that. One is Vincent Tan and whoever is beneath you. At the end of the day, you've signed off on the deals. And that's what happens maybe when you don't know the profession you're walking into. And rather than bring someone in who does know the profession, can help you out, you carry on, your chairman, yourself, carry on like we know better, and then you get stung.
I think
the other side of looking at the other side of looking at it is if those people who have brought the deals for you to sign off are part of your club, then there's an integrity issue to look at, isn't it?
I think there's an element that I think there was an element of
this. At the end of the day, you've got always should act with the best interest of your club first and foremost. That, it's not about making money. It's not about, you're in a profession which pays well. There's no need for anything to be untoward. So it should be just a simple case of, listen, if I'm in a position and I'm a chief executive and an agent comes and says, I want X amount for this player, and as part of the deal, you've got to pay me this. I weigh up and I go, either you're dreaming, mate, or I find that's reasonable. Yeah, in today's market.
I think there was...
But you've got to look at, it's so many connotations. Is the player worth that? No matter what you're asking for as an agent, is the player worth that?
I think there was... let's be specific. We're talking about, I think, the contentious time. I mean, obviously the Solskjaer
because it still hurts the club years later. Do you know what I mean?
As we're finding out now,
and it affects Vincent Tan's judgment on whether or not I'm going to continue to invest in this club.
I think
so. It has the knock-on effect.
I think if we're looking at the preparations for the Premier League that summer, I think you're right in a way. I think the stakes had been raised. You're looking at different brand of players than the club had looked at previously. I think there was, from the hierarchy elements within the club, a slight, not ignorance, but a naivety about how these deals are done.
Yeah, we got plenty of money.
Because obviously, as we've always said, it's a business, but it's unlike any other business. It's not like selling fast food in Malaysia.
I found, and this is what I found working at other clubs. I've spoken to people at other clubs who have said, I heard you paid this agent this amount of money for this player. Their reply to me was, well, that's what we thought we had to do. Honestly, I'm like, why? They watch Sky Sports News and they see and they hear all the deals going down and blah, 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 blah. And with last minute, we're at Upton Park and it's just been done. And the agent walks in and they think, oh, well, this is the norm. And then I say, like, you're being laughed at in football. No other club's going to come and say to you, oh, by the way, this is what you pay, or don't ever pay that. That's for you to work out. But if you haven't got the right personality who can tell you, right, yeah, no, that's reasonable and that's extortionate, and that is there's just no way. You are going to get your fingers burnt, I'm afraid, and that's the classic case of Cardiff, I think.
I think that's what happened to Vincent Tan.
Yeah, classic case.
And that might explain his reluctance now to become so financially involved, particularly in transfer dealings. But
and I'm gonna accept that point, and I can understand that point.
There's maybe stuff still to come out from that.
But still, what I'm saying is, I would still say to him, you have to shoulder part of the responsibility for it. It's a two-way street. You should have been more knowledgeable, or got someone who was, and whoever you feel has done you wrong shouldn't have done you wrong. You know what I mean? It's not something that you can say, well, I put all my trust in that person, because the people that you had, or the people you had below you, weren't what you would call football people.
Yeah.
To a degree.
But they spent too much in agent fees.
Yeah, to summarise. And it didn't seem like something that they're going to repeat anyway. No,
not right now.
I think if it wasn't such a large amount, I don't think it'd be, well, it wouldn't be an issue, would it? Because agent fees have to be paid, simple as that. But to that amount, for the players you got, it's kind of like, whoa.
Okay, let's leave that one there. Big few weeks coming up, obviously Cardiff now in the playoff positions. The old festive fixtures. This is you always say, Blakey, I think this is the key sort of time, isn't it? Lots and lots of games.
Pivotal.
Of course, it starts with Sheffield Wednesday, which is the team in 7th.
Six-pointer.
Exactly, yeah.
A 6-pointer, really. Whoever, if someone can win that, they're going to be in the playoffs come.
It's interesting because there's a few teams, Ipswich, Sheffield Wednesday.
It's really tightened up there. It's going really, right down. I think down towards Reading. And the other, of course, the other interesting thing is that group 5-4. They're getting a little bit of a cushion there to catch, to actually claw them back in now.
From
Derby's and all that. Yeah.
Derby, Hull, Middlesbrough.
Yeah. There's like a little 5-point gap.
Yeah. Burnley are 5 points ahead of Cardiff.
So if everyone's not careful, you're going to be scrapping for sixth. And that is going to be like that's going to be madness. But there's still obviously a hell of a long way to go. But it's fascinating.
The gap between Cardiff in 6th and Burnley in 5th is the same as Cardiff in 6th and Wolves in 14th.
Yes, there you go.
Probably,
I was going to say, I think it's about 15
It's
teams
tight.
in the low card.
It's very.
It's going to be exciting.
It is.
He said
indeed.
optimistically.
Yeah.
That's why all the fans will start coming back down to see it, because it's going to be so exciting. I hope.
Indeed. I mean, where are you? MK Dons, you are Boxing Day, isn't it? Is that the?
You know I am. Well, don't rub it in. You know I am. I didn't like Christmas anyway. Yes, MK John. Well, they've got
Blakey's
Brentford
coming with you,
before.
though, isn't he?
Blakey coming with. He'll still be unwrapping his presents, probably. You know what he's like. They got Brentford. Brentford?
No, it's
Brentford, my
two
friend.
games. We've got Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday, Brentford then on the Tuesday.
Yeah,
is it?
that's
Then-
another big one.
So 2 home games next. Then Birmingham away, 18th of December.
Blimey.
That's going to be a trip.
MK Dons away, 26th of December, and then there's more football then on the 29th. I believe.
Blackburn, I think.
Nottingham Forest.
Well, it's Nottingham Forest, and then Blackburn in the new year.
second,
It is. I mean, it is a cliche because it's true. It's an absolutely massive fixture. I mean, of course, tonight's FA Cup third round draw. By the way, maybe we'll talk about that later. But
We could have our annual "Does the FA Cup matter?" debate.
yeah, we'll have that in a minute. But that period then up to Blackburn, which is the second, then you have the break for the third round thing. That run up of 5 games or whatever it is, well,
Difficult, isn't it?
blimey.
Big ass.
Come January 3rd, you're going to be like, well, okay, this is
Out
it
on
now.
your feet.
Well, whatever I'm going to be.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. You'll be home.
Yeah.
Never goes anywhere. But Cardiff themselves are going to find everything much more focused, much more what are we fighting for? So it's going to be great. I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to it in a way.
Yeah. I mean,
It's all right. It's good. I love Christmas. Lots of football.
Into it with a bit of momentum, though, aren't they? Which is so.
And they're heading into it as well. Sorry to bring up my brilliant pieces. This is the strongest bench ever. Blah blah blah. But they're heading into it. Wow. With a fit, touch wood, with a fit, you know, what's happening in training to them, all broken their legs, but touch wood, a fit squad. Options, choices, you know. Not that he'll use any of them, but they're there if you want them. You know, it's nice to know they're there. You know.
What happened to the big virus you reported on last week?
Well, it's fine
Seems to be
now.
a virus at Cardiff.
I tell you what, those Lemsips are brilliant. I'm only reporting what I don't think I made it up, do you? I tell you what, I'm having a boring one. I invent a virus. I was told by sources within the club, you know me and my source, a virus it was earlier in the week and people had gotten better.
Did it
As
come
they
from your
invariably
best
do.
source, your mate?
Yeah, I come from. A good journalist never reveals his sources, so I'll tell you. No, I won't tell you. But there was a virus that swept through, but that was cleared up with one of Uncle Russ's hot toddies. and a warm compress on your forehead. So that was good. So that was all good.
Indeed. A couple of predictions here from Carl, who's normally a bit sort of negative at times. At the minute, he says he must be on drugs. He's predicting Cardiff 3 wins in a row: 2-0 against Sheffield Wednesday, 2-1 over Brentford, and 1-0 at Birmingham.
Blimey, that would
certainly
put them in a good position.
Yeah.
That is.
That's what they need.
I was just about to say that is almost exactly what
That's
they
what
need.
they need.
That is what I think. That's what
to get into like third or something
That's
like
what
that.
Russell Slade said.
by the
He
end
said
of
we've
Chri-
got to go on a run now.
by the end of
We need
December.
to run.
Yeah.
We need to go on a run.
Is that what he said? Is it?
Yeah, he said. I mean, the first thing he said was, "Great, we've won here, but
We need a
it's
win,
nothing
win,
if we
win
don't
basis,
don't
yeah.
pick up momentum now and go into Christmas and start picking up points regularly."
Well, 2 home games is good, isn't it, as well? No?
Yeah, I mean, the last evidence we got at home, I know it was a draw, but the Burnley game, I thought it was their best performance of the season.
Yeah.
If they, and then, as we were saying earlier, you're not going to go to Bolton away in the Championship and boss things. Okay, you might if you're like up top or whatever, but you're very rare you're going to go on away ground and have it all your own way. So that maybe take that out of the equation. I'm hoping now, when you talked about don't let Burnley be the one-off, hoping that jumps to Sheffield Wednesday. You know, you get that bounce.
Well, you've got the win
there.
behind you as well.
And they got a win behind them. So I think that's a great. I think that's a really, really, really fascinating game and really important game.
And you wouldn't expect any changes to that team now, would you? For
Well,
coming
the only argument I
apart
see
from the defence, maybe
Fabio.
with Fabio, and
Manga.
Fabio for Malone, Manga.
Fabio and Manga.
I wouldn't personally, but I would bring in.
I'm sure you were saying last time that he's the best player in Cardiff in the club and bring him back. You've got to be
so
back in the
much
team.
stuff.
Didn't he say that?
I can't.
Did he
Was
wanted
it me?
Morrison out,
I
didn't
say-
he?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Look, I say so much stuff. I can't remember what
Okay.
I said. You know what I mean? No one else can remember what I said. No. What I would have said was, if you are going to bring him in, and you never answered this, who comes out? Morrison or Connolly? I think I said Morrison. I'd go for Connolly Manga if it were to happen. What about you? Don't want to put you. Well, I do want to put you
I
on
think
the
he
spot.
agrees with you, but he can't bring himself to say the
He
word.
doesn't like to make himself unpopular.
Well, I said
does he?
3
You know?
centre halves.
Oh, I'm not going on. I'm refusing to talk about threes. It's never going to happen. It's not going to happen
didn't have to-
under Uncle Russ. So you
no one have to come out then, did they?
Oh God. The problem with you is you see all sides of the argument, unlike me. I see virtually no sides of the argument.
It's my way or nothing.
The Mike continues with January, says we definitely need to strengthen in January. We need a fast goal-scoring winger and a striker to compete with Kenwyn, who is far too lazy, he says. So that accusation rearing its head again.
I always see that. I just think that's his game, kind of. You know.
You're going to be asking him to do things that he doesn't
Yeah, exactly.
do.
I mean, you're not going to go to come and like I want you 100 miles per hour up and down. I want you down back on the. It's just don't. You know, people have their style.
That's the problem with British.
He sets up 2 goals.
That's the
Like,
problem
what
with
do you want?
British football. I remember playing for Wales, and I won't mention the manager.
Bobby Gould.
And I remember him like saying like to Giggsy, you know, "Oh, more for you, more," you know.
It's Bobby Gould. isn't it? It's Bobby
Giggsy would
Gould.
run through like
Don't
4 or
try
5 players at the time, like, you know, and okay, some people got issues with him. That's a whole different story. But you know, we were all like, how, you know. Just leave him alone. He's producing. He produces. Like, you want more off you. And,
I think Kenwyn Jones, you know, we said it before, it's absolutely essential. There's nobody come close to him there. It means the idea of anybody usurping him there is madness.
Who was that asked the question?
Mike.
I would say the Mike. Look at him for what he does do rather than what he doesn't do. Yeah,
Good point.
that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a cliche of what you expect your striker to do, but it's you know, modern day football. It's not one big man, one small man. He runs the channels. He has the long balls. The game has changed now. It's very different. You know what I mean?
Look, they just scored 5 goals in 2 games, or I don't even know what the one before was, but they scored. You know, they're scoring goals. So yeah, I don't think that, you know, that's a given right now. And you can have got Watt, Jones, if they're both fit, you're going to do that.
Yeah.
If you go with 2 men up front or whatever you want to.
And everyone seems to be on the same page with the midfield now, obviously with Rowles and
Yes.
Pilkington.
Yeah.
And it's a good. Do you know? It's good for wits. Excuse me, because it's now right. What do you do?
He's responded before. I mean, Malky dropped him, didn't he? But remember with
Yeah,
Kimbo
yeah.
and what's the other one? Was it
Kimbo, remember him?
Kimbo. Yeah, I mean, remember, and who was it? Much, I think, wasn't it? Came in and took him out, and he responded really positively. That you know, I mean, wouldn't even have this discussion if it wasn't Peter Whittingham, would you? In a way, you would be saying, all right, so
No, you do, because it's competition for places. You know, your history is a saying in football. You're only as good as your last game. So you know, it doesn't matter what you've done in 2012 or 2011 or it's like it goes in the history books and you're respected for it. But they want to know what you're doing on Saturday.
It's all about the
Do you know what I mean?
game. Yeah.
Against Sheffield Wednesday, they're not interested against, you know, what you done against Bolton in 2011.
What will they do against Sheffield Wednesday then? It's finished with the usual random
Have we
guess
finished
at
already?
some predictions. Yeah, we are.
I was almost enjoying that then.
Yeah,
for a
it was
while.
nice,
So it was good, wasn't it?
yeah.
Let's go.
You almost had your 2-2. You went for 2-2 against Bolton.
Yeah,
You almost had it.
yeah.
Goodness, you were wrong.
Yeah.
In many ways. Oh, blimey, I'm going to go for 2-1 Cardiff. I think I reckon they tails up, bit of momentum building. I don't see any reason right now not to go for a Cardiff win. Personally.
3-0, I think.
To Cardiff.
3-0.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
All right. Now that's positive, right?
3-0, I think.
Oh, that.
I think they're at that point where they can go there. They can, mentally, they can go to another level. off the back of the last two results.
I do. It's interesting. I think the Bolton result was a massive confidence boost for them because they you know,
the Burnley game would
manner
have felt
of
like a loss.
Yeah.
You pick up and go and play Bolton. Everyone's like waiting for the slip. You come close to it. You toy with it. You end up winning the game. Everyone's
the fact they
buzzing.
kept
The journey
fighting
home's
back
great.
like that will
Bang.
make them think they can do anything.
Next game, I'll go 3-0. 3-1 at the very worst, but 3-0 I'll stick with.
Great.
Well, let's leave it there. We don't want to say anything negative.
Don't say anything negative now before the end.
To Sheffield.
To Sheffield. 3-0 to Sheffield. No. No.
Indeed. A final couple of comments anyway. John saying, I think to stick with what we have now, bringing somebody else in, he's talking about the manager thing, could upset the balance of the team, consolidate over the next few weeks and months, keep the team the same where possible. We are sixth, a couple more wins over the next few weeks, and we are sitting pretty, he says. And a final one, if we don't go up this year, we might well have a South Wales derby on our hands next season.
Cool, yeah, we
smile
went,
on his
Hey, Cliffy.
we didn't mention our friends
No.
up the road. No.
Indeed. Right, we'll leave it there. Let's hope the 3-0 prediction comes true.
I hope so.
Thanks for joining us. As always, thanks for all your comments. Hope you enjoyed it. We will see you again next week, same time, same place.